Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today I give you 10 more recommendations on HBO Max. And let's get to the list. Beyond the Black Rainbow is a 2010 Canadian sci-fi horror movie. Written and directed by Panos Cosmatos in his feature-length film debut, it stars Michael Rogers and Eva Allen. A heavily sedated woman with ESP tries to escape from a secluded medical compound, where she has been the subject of experimental testing and held captive for many years.
Hello, Lana. How are you feeling? You look tired today. Have you had, any headaches? And you don't know who you are or what you are?
So this is a very slow burn, stylish movie, and it has this really great 70s vibe. Even the way this movie is paced feels like something from another time. And you can really see the attention to detail that was put into this as well. From the set designs to the wardrobe, everything just feels like it was really well thought out. And there's this constant feeling of ever-growing dread throughout. Michael Rogers is magnificent in this, really carrying this film. You could just really see how committed he was to this role. But this isn't the kind of movie for everyone, because it is pretty slow, it's very artsy and surreal. So it's not something that everyone is gonna get on board with. It's the kind of movie you have to let wash over you and get in the right state of mind for. But if you can get on the same page with it, it is well worth your time.
What's wrong? You're crazy.
I'm crazy! Enemy is a 2013 dramatic psychological thriller. Directed by Denis Villeneuve, it's loosely adapted from the 2002 novel The Double by Jose Saramago. The film stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Melanie Laurent, Sarah Gadon, and Isabella Rossellini. Jake Gyllenhaal plays dual roles in this, as two men that are physically identical, but personality-wise they are very different, and their lives become intertwined as things take a dark, bizarre turn.
Anthony Clare, 3650 Rathburn Road.
Hello?
Good afternoon.
Hey,
No, I'm calling to speak
where
to
are you calling from?
I'm sorry, I think there's been a
Who is
misunderstanding.
this?
Okay, I'll call back later.
This is such a twisted, strange little movie. It's very much a mystery, and it doesn't go the directions that you think it would. It's just very weird and unique. And Gyllenhaal's fantastic in this role, just really becoming these two very different people. This film has so many layers to it with countless symbols and hidden detail. This is the kind of story that's really left up to your own interpretation. It's really up for you to decide what you think the answers are. So if you enjoy mindfucks, this is a fantastic pick.
You have to kill him.
They want you to know they're there. Bug.
Bug is a 2006 psychological thriller directed by William Friedkin and written by Tracy Letts. It stars Ashley Judd, Michael Shannon, and Harry Connick Jr. At a rundown desert motel, a woman starts a tentative relationship with a newcomer who has strange charisma, one that offers the woman an unstable flicker of hope. And the man reveals to her that the military has deliberately infected him with a bug under his skin, causing paranoia to envelop the desperate pair.
There's no bugs on your skin.
You have to dig it out.
I'll dig it out and show you.
This is a dirty, grimy, twisted, absolutely fucked up movie. One that will really stick with you. It goes deep into the horrors of mental health with paranoia and psychosis. But it's done in such a way that it causes you to really question what is going on as well. And this is definitely not for the faint of heart. It gets brutal with some very disturbing body horror. But it's a powerful, well done movie and one that I highly recommend.
You don't want to wake up, do you?
Under the Skin is a 2013 sci-fi horror movie, directed by Jonathan Glazer and loosely based on the 2000 novel by Michael Faber. It stars Scarlett Johansson, Adam Pearson, and Paul Brannigan. Disguising itself as a human female, an extraterrestrial drives around Scotland attempting to lure unsuspecting men into her van. Once there, she seduces, then sends them into another dimension where they become nothing more than meat.
Come to me.
What a beautifully bizarre, creative movie this is. This is another movie that uses dread and discomfort, and it's so warped that it causes you to feel disoriented the entire time. The fact that so much of what was shot on the streets was really Scarlett Johansson approaching real strangers is just absolutely wild and like nothing you've ever seen. This is such a unique, underrated little gem. It is an absolute must-watch.
Ruins.
I'm not okay. You keep saying I'm okay. I'm not okay. Why won't you look at me?
The Ruin is a 2008 nature horror movie. Written and directed by Carter Smith, the film stars Jonathan Tucker, Jenna Malone, Shawn Ashmore, and Laura Ramsey. A group of young adults go looking for fun while on holiday in Mexico, but they get much more than that after visiting an archaeological dig in the jungle, when carnivorous vines begin to ensnare the friends, trapping them in their tendrils.
Did you see that? Something's on me.
I've always been such a big fan of this movie. It does have its flaws and the dialogue is definitely early 2000s cheese. But damn if this movie doesn't get fucking savage. I just really love the practical body horror in this. It's also such a fantastic premise that's really well executed. It gets dark and brutal, but still really a fun watch, and one that's definitely worth making your list.
It's strange to have made something that hates you. What will happen to me if I fail your test?
Ex Machina is a 2014 sci-fi thriller. Written and directed by Alex Garland, it stars Domhnall Gleeson, Alicia Vikander, Sonoya Mizuno, and Oscar Isaac. When a programmer at a tech company wins a contest that enables him to spend a week at the private estate of the CEO. But when he arrives, he discovers he is the human component in a Turing test to determine the capabilities and consciousness of a beautiful robot. But it soon becomes evident that the robot is much more self-aware and deceptive than they ever imagined.
You are dead center of the greatest scientific event in the history of man.
Hello,
Hi. Do you have a name?
Ava.
This is really one of the best dark sci-fi movies of the last 20 years. It looks stunning and the pacing is fantastic. Plus the entire cast are phenomenal as well. And even though it is a dialogue movie, it never feels slow at all. It gets crazy intense and heart-pounding while still asking some very profound questions. This is truly a masterful work of cinematic art and one that I highly recommend.
What a cutie.
You should have seen him with fur.
Tim Burton's Corpse Bride.
This is gonna be good.
Corpse Bride is a 2005 stop-motion animation dark fantasy. Written and produced by Tim Burton, it's directed by Mike Johnson and Tim Burton, and voice starring Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter, Emily Watson, and Christopher Lee. So Victor and Victoria's families have arranged their marriage. Though they do like each other, Victor is nervous about the ceremony. And while in the forest practicing lines for the wedding, a tree branch becomes a hand that drags him into the land of the dead. It belongs to Emily, who was murdered after eloping with her love and wants to marry Victor. But Victor must find a way to get back before Victoria marries the villain.
They were due to be married, though they'd never before met. But in a moment of panic, Victor desperately fled, and by a grave misunderstanding, married the Corpse Bride instead.
This is one of my favorite animated movies ever, and And I feel like this is the most underappreciated of all of Tim Burton's animated films. I know myself, I didn't even fully appreciate this movie until the fall of 2020 when I saw it at the drive-ins. And just with that cool October night sky above me at the drive-ins, this movie just popped off the screen and was just absolutely magical. And ever since then, I've just had a whole new level of appreciation for it. It's so colorful and creepy. I think it's just such a fun watch for all ages. It's a perfect entryway horror movie for you and your fam. So by all means, check it out. Carnival of Souls is a 1962 independent horror movie. Produced and directed by Herc Harvey and written by John Clifford. It stars Candice Hilligoss. The plot follows Mary Henry, a young woman whose life is disturbed after a car accident. She relocates to a new city where she finds herself unable to assimilate with the locals and becomes drawn to the pavilion of an abandoned carnival.
It's been less than a week since you were in a car that crashed into the river. How you got out of that, no one seems to know.
This is one of the most interesting yet underrated classic horror movies ever. It's one of those films that has inspired so many creatives in the horror genre. Even George A. Romero cited it as inspiration for his 1969 film Night of the Living Dead. From the look to the style, it's weird and haunting, and it really was ahead of its time in so many ways. Plus, with the tiniest of budgets, what they were able to pull off was just amazing. This really is one of those foundation horror movies that if you're a fan of horror, this is one you need to see. Tusk is a 2014 dark horror comedy. Written and directed by Kevin Smith, the film stars Michael Parks, Johnny Depp, and Justin Long. An American podcaster ventures into the Canadian wilderness to do an interview with an old man who has an extraordinary past. As the American digs into the old man's past, he learns of a dark, horrifying secret involving a walrus.
The walrus is far more evolved than any man I've heard of, present company included.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This movie is so fucked up and yet hilarious. It's uncomfortable and disturbing, yet entertaining as hell. And it's one of the more bizarre movies you'll ever see. It's not a scary type of horror, it's more of a sickening, uncomfortable horror. But what makes this movie so interesting is how funny it is in a gruesome, dark sense of humor way. But this is another one that's definitely not for everyone. I've seen a lot of people hate on this movie. You have to really be fucked up in the head and enjoy this twisted, weird sense of humor. But if you've never seen this, and this sounds like something you might be interested in, then make this the next thing that you watch.
Harvey Keitel, George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, Juliette Lewis.
Welcome to slavery.
No thanks. I already had a wife.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn is a 1996 action horror movie directed by Robert Rodriguez and written by Quentin Tarantino. It stars Harvey Keitel, George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, and Juliette Lewis. The plot follows a pair of American criminal brothers who take a family hostage in order to cross the border into Mexico, but ultimately find themselves trapped in a saloon full of vampires.
One night is all that stands between them and freedom.
This is my kind of place.
But it's going to be one hell of a night.
This movie is so much damn fun. And it's like two movies in one because it starts out as this action crime thriller type of situation and then turns into a full-on campy, gory 1970s-ish horror movie. It looks and feels gritty and dirty, yet is sexy and stylish, especially Selma Hayek. But really, it's just a fun, campy, grindhousey type of old school horror movie that you could definitely have fun with. So grab your popcorn and enjoy. Real quick, if you could do me a favor, leave a comment down below. Let me know what movies you recommend on HBO Max. Also, I want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all my patrons. And if you guys would like to find out about becoming a patron, the link is down in the description. Like always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun.